Other than Caesar Augustus, the most famous emperors of Rome are arguably the Flavian emperors. These famous Flavians, Vespasian and his two sons, Titus and Domitian, reigned during some of Rome's greatest triumphs and tragedies. Before we get to the details of these famous Flavians, let's see how they came to power in the year known to history as the Year of the Four Emperors. When Emperor Nero was deposed without an heir in the year 68 CE, the position of emperor was up for grabs. What ensued was a bloody year in which four men claimed, then tried to hold, the crown. The first man to begin the Year of Four Emperors was Galba. As a respected general, Galba seemed to have what it took to be the emperor. Unfortunately, he was old, and when he chose his heir, a man named Otho challenged this decision. When a supporter of Otho assassinated Galba, Otho took the throne as the year's second emperor. Sadly for Otho, he lacked the military might to hold the throne. When Vitellius, another military man, challenged the throne, Otho actually committed suicide, handing the crown to Vitellius, the year's third emperor. Ironically, Vitellius proved to be as weak as his predecessor. Within a very short time, his generals had more power than he did, and Vitellius was actually dragged into the streets and murdered. Enter Titus Flavius Vespasianus, a conquering general who claimed the throne as the year's fourth and final emperor. Known to history simply as Vespasian, he took and held the crown, beginning the Flavian dynasty of emperors. Since Vespasian sort of won the Year of the Four Emperors, we're giving him the nickname Vespasian the Victor. This is especially fitting since he restored stability to the empire after a year of chaos. As the victor, he also suppressed several rebellions throughout the empire, the most famous being the Jewish rebellion centered in Judea. Adding to these victories, Vespasian won the heart of Rome by creating a well-oiled propaganda machine. For example, when his son Titus sacked Jerusalem, Vespasian organized an extravagant ceremony, or triumph, in which he showed off their spoils of war. Not content with only showing off the spoils of war, Vespasian won public opinion by beginning the construction of one of Rome's greatest treasures, the Colosseum, known to ancient Rome as the Flavian Amphitheater. Winning the game of public opinion, Vespasian ruled until death by illness, not assassination, in the year 79 CE. Upon his death, his eldest son Titus took his crown. As Emperor, Titus held great promise. After all, it was he who commanded the Roman legions that conquered Jerusalem. It was he who marched through Rome in victorious triumph. One of Rome's greatest monuments, the Arch of Titus, commemorates his fame. Despite this illustrious resume, Titus's reign was short. It was also filled with some of Rome's greatest tragedies. For this reason, we'll remember him as Titus the Tragic. It was within Titus's reign that Mount Vesuvius erupted, burying the cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum under volcanic ash. Adding to this tragedy, a fire ravaged Rome in the year 80 CE. As if this wasn't enough to earn him the nickname Titus the Tragic, his reign also saw the outbreak of the plague within the empire. On top of all these ill-fated events, Titus himself succumbed to illness, dying in 81 CE. Upon the tragic death of Titus, the third and last Flavian emperor took the throne. His name was Domitian, son of Vespasian and younger brother of Titus. Because of Domitian's overbearing personality and his propensity to see himself as a god, we'll be remembering him as Domitian the Domineering. As a domineering emperor, this famous Flavian considered himself a god. While previous emperors at least referred to themselves as first citizens or first among equals, Domitian preferred to be called master and god. Seeing himself in this light, Domitian usually ignored the desires of the Roman Senate and aristocracy. He dealt cruelly with his critics, seizing their property and ordering their deaths. He also levied heavy taxes and spent a great deal of money staging extravagant games and building monument after monument in his family's honor. Eventually, the aristocracy of Rome reached their fill of Domitian and his domineering ways. In 96 CE, Domitian was assassinated. Since he died without a living heir, the famous Flavian dynasty died with him. The famous Flavian dynasty of Rome came to power during the year of the four emperors. As emperors, these three men ruled Rome during some of its greatest triumphs and tragedies. There was Vespasian, who stood victorious in the year of the four emperors. He used his reign to restore stability to the empire while also making his family name great. Next was his son Titus. Although he was a beloved emperor who once led the legions of Rome that conquered Jerusalem, his reign was full of tragedy. It saw the eruption of Vesuvius, the fire of Rome, and devastating plague. Adding to these tragedies, he died of illness very shortly into his reign. This brings us to our last Flavian, Titus's younger brother Domitian. Unlike his father and brother, Domitian's domineering ways made him an enemy of Rome's aristocracy. Using his position as emperor to elevate himself as a god, Domitian taxed his people, killed his critics, and lavishly spent Rome's money. Although he claimed deity, this did not stop the angry aristocracy from having him assassinated in the year 96 CE. And with this, the famous Flavian dynasty of Rome came to an end.